Cost Show, the Monica Cost Show.
Hello, and welcome to the Monica Cost Show Summer Series, Take the Label Off the Table. I'm your host, Monica Cost. I am delighted to bring you this summer series where we'll be talking, you know what, authentic living. We'll be talking about it professionally, relationally, emotionally, and any way that you can imagine. Thank you so very much for joining us. We will be talking to some notable personalities and some new faces. Either way, I hope that you'll take something from it and begin or continue your journey to authentic living. Today, I am just delighted to kick off the summer series with comedian extraordinaire, Miami's own, Marvin Dixon. Hello, Marvin.
Hello, lovely lady. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fantastic. You are so gracious to get up early this morning and do this. I totally appreciate it.
I'm always ready.
Thank you. So I want to jump right in and just learn a little bit more about your background and how you became a comedian. I mean, is it something that you always dreamed of doing?
No, I was always naturally funny. To be honest, I was a sky cap at the airport. So I was the one when you go to fly, I check your bag to your locations. And a friend of the family's and another friend kept boosting me up to saying I can do comedy because I was always naturally funny. But I never took them serious until they signed me up in an amateur competition, but didn't let me know. I wasn't aware of it. And I just went to the comedy club with them. And this is my second time ever going in my life. And they signed me up and I didn't know. And the host said, the last amateur coming up, give it up for Marvin Dixon. And I looked around and said, somebody got the same name as me. And one grabbed my left arm, one grabbed my right, and they pushed me up on the stage because we was in the front row. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. How'd that particular evening go for you?
Great.
It went well.
I've never been moved.
And where was this? Was that in Miami?
That was in Miami, a club called Miami Nights. And it was a comedy room, wasn't a comedy club.
Okay.
So too many blacks, there wasn't that many black comedy clubs back when I started. It was only very few, a handful. And there was none in the state of Florida. Wow. We just had comedy nights at different nightclubs. And that was a night that I eventually ended up taking over, maybe 6 months later.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. And so, you know, in terms of authentic living, because that is the premise of the show, is it easy to live an authentic life as a comedian and, you know, because you get to sort of joke about yourself and tell things as it is? Or do you sort of feel the same amount of pressure the rest of us do around living into the expectations of others?
No, really. With comedy, we could put a spin on anything. We could be dead broke and make jokes about it. Whereas to any average person, that's not funny. Mm-hmm. We could be in a crisis, a death in a family. We can make a joke about that. We take anything that could be tragic to someone else or serious to someone else and put a spin on it and make it humorous to everyone else.
Right. Now, this is true. So what are the pressures that you feel as a comedian?
You have to make a room full of people laugh who you don't know or never met. That's easy. When you're singing, you can sing a song they know. When you're rapping, you can rap a song they know. But comedy, they don't know them jokes. So you have to make them people laugh that you never known, never seen, or may never come across again in your life.
Yeah. How do you keep your material authentic? You know, having to come up with new things. Do you always have to experience new things to come up with new content? Or how do you keep it authentic to who you are, especially when you see what's working for other people?
Well, every day is news. I'm just a person, I read newspapers, I look at news, I watch local news if I'm in a different city. If I'm in your city and never been there, I will sit and watch a local news station for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm going to get at least 10 to 15 minutes of local stuff so I can at least make the people feel like, okay, he know about this city or this town or what's going on here. That's all you have to do. I stay up on current events. That's just me personally.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting watching some of the comedians that have come along. And is there a point in time where you can get too big for stand-up?
You can get to the point where you're not hungry anymore. And you're never too big for stand-up. Because I tell young comics, a lot of them get the big head when they get the local celebrity. I always say the local celebrity status, and community or their area. And I always tell them, you're not going to be bigger than this club. Because this club can get rid of you, and they're going to ask for 2 weeks where you at, and the third week they're not asking no more. They're going to be happy with the new person that's there.
Sure.
But when you get, I always say, get comfortable, you're not hungry anymore. Like us, we're hungry now. We're trying to get to that level of, I say the millions. That's what I call it. You can get the millions either way, whether it's TV, radio, movies. Once a lot of them get that status, they get more complacent and they cool now. They feel like I'm in cruise control, whereas as a young brother or sister, hungrier than you were when you started, and they trying to get to your status. So that's what a lot of them make the mistake of being. You got to always have an appetite for this. If you don't, that's time to retire. When you don't have the appetite no more.
I think you're hilarious. I tell you that you are funny on and off stage, and I'm always looking forward to seeing more of you. Is there a sacrifice that one makes in being authentic that maybe prohibits them from becoming a bigger comic? What makes sort of comedians blow up versus those that sort of remain still funny, still, making good money, but not as popular?
Well, in comedy, most professions it ain't what you know, it's who you know. Not in comedy. In comedy, it's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you. If the right person knows you, they can take you to the next level. Because we're dealing with black comedy, unlike any other form of comedy, they take one person every couple of years, and that's their time. Right now, it's Kevin Hart. Before Kevin Hart, it was Cat Williams. Before Cat Williams, it was Mike Epps. Before Mike Epps, it was Dave Chappelle. One time they got a loop up with the Kings of Comedy. They could put Bernie, Steve, and Sid all together and DL in one little loop. But every couple of years, don't get me wrong, they keep maintaining a great living once they get to stardom. Once you get your name out there, it can ride forever.
Sure.
But they take one of us every couple of years. What it has to do to get the rest of us out there, it has to take one of those brothers or sisters that's out there to bring another crew up. But a lot of comics, it's like for self. I'm happy I made it, forget you all. Whereas there's only one comic I always say who is my favorite comic that did that, which was Red Fox. When he got his television show, Red Fox didn't just say, I got my show, forget you all.
Sure.
He told NBC, look here, I know a lot of comics that pay their dues and deserve a break too. And that's how he got LaWanda Page, who played Aunt Esther, Whitman Mayo, who played Grady, and Leroy Skillet. They played recurring roles on there, and that's how his show was a success because he knew others weren't. Whereas comedy now is for self. A lot of these brothers and sisters know who's funny because they prohibit them to be on their show.
Sure.
As myself, I've got kicked off more tours than a dope head. And I ain't never did drugs in my life. They get kicked me off tours because of you being too funny. And you got to be funny. You got to be true to yourself. Because I did a show one time, one comedian. It wasn't the comedian that told me. It was the promoters. They told me to tone it down so he can shine. And I asked them one question. Let me ask you something. Say you never knew me, never seen me. If I went up there, first time you see me, and I toned it down so he can look good, and I called you later for another gig, what would you tell me?
Right.
You was all right. He was all right, but, next time we book him, if he bring you with you, we'll put you on the show. Then, but if I blow him off the stage, what you going to say? Man, we got to get that first guy. And that's how comedy is. It's sad to say, but only the people, I always tell people, when you see a brother or sister come to your town, go see him, because you never know, that might be the next person to blow up.
Yeah.
Never know.
It's so true. And you speak very highly of Tom Joyner, who I also adore, he and his team, in terms of, putting on comics and doing more for them maybe than, some of the other comics that are out there.
Tom Joyner has done more for black comedy than any other comedian that I know. He has done way more for black comedy. He has a syndicated program, one of the largest in the nation, if not the largest, and he puts us on a format where we can be seen throughout he puts us live on the air with him to sit in through the weeks when Jay's on vacation. Whereas it's a lot of comedians that have their own syndicated shows, but they don't reach out. They put people on like Jamie Foxx. They put people on like Bill Bellamy. We know them already. What about the next group that's coming up? Tom puts the next group up and say, this is the next click to go. That's who I'm looking out for. And that's how comedy used to be, entertainment used to be back in the days. It was to make people a name. We're going to make you a name. Johnny Carson, when he had his television show, he made names. He didn't get all these new people people that's already blown up, people that worth 100 million. He didn't do that. And after they left Johnny Carson, they was a millionaire. Sure. Almost everybody. And I appreciate what Arsenio Hall did. He started doing that same format, bringing brothers and sisters that I know that's in the struggle with me to the next level that you never heard of, but they were funny, and he would put them on there, and they would rip.
Yeah, and you also, tell the story, which I didn't know, that you opened for Dave Chappelle. He had a great conversation with Maya Angelou that I watched, where she asked him about when he left, when he walked off the stage, and he said that, he enjoyed comedy because he connected with the audience, and it was very authentic, and he could, feed off of their energy. And that at this particular show where they started to heckle him, he felt like it was just the celebrity, everything he said, hi, I'm Dave Chappelle, and people would fall out laughing. And there was something disingenuous about that to him. So I really appreciated that conversation from an authenticity standpoint. But you have a different angle on it because you were there.
Right. When Dave before he did the interview with Maya, I happened to be blessed, first of all, to be on the show with him, and that was the turning point, I think, of his, I always say, second half of his career. Well, third half. He already had the struggle, he had the millions, and then he went back into hibernation and came back out. But comedy is like boxing. You have to train, you have to practice, you have to get in shape to get that championship fight. And what Dave did, he has been missing forever, and he came back on the stage, on the scene. I was on the show with him. It was 5,500 people sold out. And when I went up there, I'm home. So I'm going to go up there and try to rip, which I did, and got a standing note. Dave, who I think is one of the most brilliant minds of comedy history, came on stage, and as he said, they were screaming and yelling because he was Dave. But when he went into his material, he wasn't the old Dave like he used to be. He just was, hey, they hype off my name. But after a few minutes, they start heckling him and then start booing him. And it felt like I was out there because I never seen that happen with Dave. And that's what, after the show, we talked for 2 hours, him, I, and Dougie Fresh. And we were talking about that. And I said, man, you got to get back out there. You got to start off like you started in the beginning. You got to work the regular room, just pop up at different clubs, go up there and work and work and work till you get your routine back solid the way it was. You just popped up on the scene, not being on stage in almost 2 years.
Sure.
And you can't do that in comedy. Like a lot of comics do stage plays, but don't do stand-up, and they get missing, and they pop back up, and the timing is off. The jokes ain't coming like they used to be because he realized I have missed the stage in over a year or two doing this play, whereas you got to continue to work out. Some comics, and I like props to DL. DL never stopped working. DL Hughley, he stays on stage. I don't care what movie he doing, what show he doing, DL stay on stage. Said the entertainer, stay on stage. And you have to do that in comedy because it's like your timing would be off. It's like singing. You got to be a hum, whatever you get a chance to. You can't just walk up there and haven't sung in 2 years. Right. You got to keep doing that. Comedy is different than being riding a bike. You can always ride a bike, but you can't always do stand-up. You got to really start it back over again.
So how can we be supportive of you?
Easy. Come to my shows whenever I come to your city. I tell people, man, come see me because the worst thing you can say to a comedian, I don't care if they're black, white, or Spanish, I never heard of you. Because they never heard of you neither.
Right.
And I tell people that's like going to Walmart to buy something. Now, we're not going to sell this to you because we never heard of you.
Right.
I said, that's how it sounds. You somewhat offend them. All you can say is, hey, man, I never heard of you, but I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to support you. That makes them feel better. Now, I never heard of you. Like, you only come to people you heard of. It's like somebody, your boss telling you, fill out the application, we would hire you, but we never heard of you. And they'll look at you stupid. So that's why we look at you crazy. Or they say this, you in their town, you booked that night. They know you booked that night. They don't come to the show, but they call you the next day. When you coming back? Hell, I'm still here. I don't know when I'm coming back. I'm still here.
Right. Why didn't you come out?
Yeah, why you didn't come out? Come on, so man. I had a girl I dated years ago. I never forget this. Her dad told me, you ain't funny like my boy Bernie Mac. And I said, you never seen me. He talking about something. I ain't got to see you, I just know. Why you ain't on no movies? And I asked her dad, he worked for Winston-Salem, the cigarette company.
Sure.
And I asked him, I say, why you not getting sued in that lawsuit? What you mean I'm not getting sued? I said, because you ain't one of the big boys, so they don't know who the hell you are. And then he didn't realize, but when he did see me, I became one of his favorite comedians.
Oh, I bet.
Her and I haven't dated in years, but her dad brings a whole heap of people to my shows when I come to their town.
Yes, well, you have me doubled over all the time. And, you know, going back for a moment to Tom Joyner, and on the cruise when he does the comedy, what's it called? The name where all the comedians get up on the stage.
That's the grand finale of the week, because every week we're all hosting so many events, but the grand finale is only comedians. We do the whole standard routine. It might be like 15 of us.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my stomach hurt for days after that. Well, I could certainly keep talking. I know you have things to do. We're doing shorter segments. I so appreciate you coming on the show, Marvin, and being in support of authentic living through the work that you do. Please keep it up. I will definitely encourage people to please go out and see Marvin Dixon. Look him up. He's on YouTube. He's on Twitter. We'll have all his information posted at the end of the show. Thank you so very much for watching the Monica Cost Show Summer Series, Take the Label Off the Table. I'm your host, Monica Cost. Until next time, dig in.
Thank you, love. And y'all keep supporting her so she can blow up and I can blow up with her.
Thank you so much.
See you later.